Hello, welcome to Eden Hope Academy. We're on week 17 and I'm so happy to be with you. Let's throw up our Bible, boom, and let's get going. I am sending you a master craftsman named Hiram Abi who is extremely talented. Can you guys say the name Hiram Abi? Who is extremely talented. His mother is from the tribe of Dan of Israel, so she was an Israelite, right? But she wasn't living there, right? And his father was from Tyre. Now, Tyre is not an Israelite, right? All right, he is skillful in making all things from gold, silver, bronze, and iron. And he also works with stone and wood, and he can make purple, blue, and scarlet cloth and fine linen. Oh, wow. Everyone go, oh, wow. This was a talented guy. I read that each one of these skills would have taken 7 to 14 years of apprenticeship. So he either was so super smart that he was able to get through faster, or he had just worked so incredibly diligently that he was able to conquer all of these. But at this time, most people would have only been taught one of these skills, and yet he knew them all. And so this is the king of Tyre, and he's sending this man to Solomon as a gift to help on Solomon's temple. Now let's think back a little bit. King David, remember him from last week? King David wanted to build a temple for God. But God said, no, you've spilled too much blood. You've done too much fighting in your life, and therefore I'm reserving the right for your son Solomon to build the temple. But, everyone go, but, David planned the temple. His heart was for God. And what he wanted to do was build the most magnificent temple that possibly could be made. And so he made the relationships with other people that were going to be needed. He helped draw out the plans. He helped discuss it and really put that heart for the temple into his son Solomon's heart, so that when he died and Solomon became king, Solomon could do this great job. And so it was amazing what Solomon was able to do. And the king of Tyre sent this amazing skilled craftsman to help him. So I want you to draw Hiram Abi creating a magnificent piece of artwork for Solomon. All right, next is, now this is before this. So remember in our history, we're kind of weaving everything together. So we're weaving back to David because we're remembering that David was Solomon's what? You're right, he was his father. And remember, it wasn't always that somehow David sprung out and he was like, he had a crown on him ready to rule right from the get-go, was it? No. God put him through test after test after test so that when he did rule, he was humble and he was ready. Just like other people in the Bible. Can you think of some? Like maybe Joseph? I want you to think of a couple more. All right, so David killed Goliath, David killed Goliath, David killed Goliath. And he did it with a single stone. All right, so I want you to draw a picture of a young David preparing for battle, maybe with a slingshot or something. All right, why did God tell David to wait on building the temple? I just told you, didn't I? Spoiler alert. What did David do when he was told he couldn't? I told you that too. Spoiler. When did Solomon start building the temple? Oh, I just did that too. All right. What did God do to prepare? How did God prepare Hiram Abi to help Solomon? Do you think now Hiram Abi his dad died fairly early, so maybe he had to go to work very early and be an apprentice very early, or maybe because his dad had died, maybe he had to learn these different skills. So there's a lot of hardship in his life, but God used that to glorify himself through the building of this temple. All right, so next is, are we ready? Let's throw it up. Boom! Archimedes studied physics, which is a science about energy and the way things moved. He discovered new physics laws about the way things sink in water, lever systems, and water screws. Archimedes, he studied physics. All right, so we're going to learn about Archimedes, and I want you to draw an invention of his, okay? One of the things that's really cool, there are a couple books on him, and I'll get the titles of them, and I'll put them below for you. And one of them is the king was his friend, and I think they were cousins. And he invented a pulley system that had all kinds of pulleys, and he was able to just move one little knot, one little pulley thing, and he was able to move just that little thing, and it brought up an entire ship and moved it out of the ocean into dry dock. He was really fantastic with what he did with physics. All right, and so you might have to I'll do a video on Archimedes for you, or you might have to watch a video on him to know his inventions. And finally, let's go up. Greece. Greece. The Aegean Sea lies to the east of the mainland, the Ionian Sea to the west, the Cretan Sea, and the Mediterranean Sea to the south. So right here, I want you, do you see the boot of Italy? And so right across from that, I want you to just do a little bitty micro dot for Greece. And then for here, I want you to draw the Mediterranean Sea, and then I want you to draw a whole bunch of islands, because Greece has a whole bunch of islands to it. Can you do that? Excellent. Okay, for leadership skills, we have King Solomon and Solomon's Temple. So in our leadership class, I want you guys to be thinking of what David did to prepare for the temple, how God prepared this man, Hiram-Abi, to help out with the temple, and how Solomon finished the job that he was given. And sometimes we might not have had the hardships that like David had or our parents had, but God wants us to learn from those hardships so that we can do great things with the hardships that our parents or our grandparents have experienced. And so we need to listen to their wisdom, listen to their life stories, so that we can take advantage of what God wants us to do. So always respect your parents and always think of their life stories as ways that are part of your past and your future. So think about some of those for leadership class. Israel divides. That's very sad. So after Solomon, Israel divided into Israel and Judah. Two different places. They couldn't hold it together. And then finally we have Greek mythology. And so I want you to think of reasons in leadership class of how and why Israel divided. And then for Greek mythology and leadership class, I want you ready for this? I want you to think of some Greek mythological stories so that you can share them and you can talk about them in leadership class this week. Got it? All right, I'll see you next week. See you later, alligator. Bye-bye.